Good evening, Nigerians. Good evening, Obedience. I welcome you most sincerely to today's edition of our program, Guest Appearance. My name is Tochukwu Ilo, and I present for Team Peter Obi and Dirty Life. We are happy to have you with us again, and of course, as you know, we'll be discussing in an interactive way the events that happened within the week. Yes, the coming presidential election scheduled for 25th of February next year is an interesting one, and also, as we know, it's a game changer in this country. There is no doubt that the momentum is high, and presidential candidates and parties have been going around the country trying to sell their candidacy to the Nigerian people. Talking about Nigerian people, these are people who have been so messed in hunger and penury, people who have been deprived of the good things of life that ought to have come from the government of the land. It's no longer news that there have been cases of suicide, murder, kidnapping, and a whole lot of violence, things that we are hitherto alien to our society. But today, they are fast becoming our trademark, and the world is not just watching, but laughing at us. It's important, therefore, that you and I review our situation with the intention to change the paradigm and make a better life for ourselves. It begins with the positive and wise use of our PVs. Before I go further, let me recognize the presence of my dear brother and friend, my colleague from Edo State, precisely in Guinea, Obinna. He has never missed the show because he is strongly a concerned Nigerian and an obedient one for that matter. Obinna, how are you doing?
Good evening, Mr. Tilo. Good evening, Nigerians. I am happy to
good to have you.
You all here again today on our guest segment. Thank you very much.
Apparently, your voice is not that loud, and I would want Nigerians to hear you. The Harmattan has come out in this part of the country. I don't know if it's the same over there. However, I know that the situation is not going to be worse than it has been for anybody in this country, because we have seen it all. And we thank God for having heard our prayers and shown us that sign that the positive transformation that we have prayed and yearned for is here. All right. I remember somewhere in the Bible, the holy book of the Christians, it is said, I put for you, or before you, life and death. Choose for yourself which you want. This is the case before the Nigerian people who have been in difficulty for years and decades. In this presidential election and as the campaign progresses, it seems clearly that the choice for life or for death is between us. Who want to remain as we have been, or who want to walk into the promised land, a land filled with milk and honor. So we decide. We are supposed to have tonight the Labour Party chairman for Orumba South, Miss Chizoba. Okay, let me shock you. Haven't had the name Miss, you might be wondering, how come a lady, and not just a lady, but a young girl, for that matter, being the Labour Party chairman in this great local government? And the answer is straight and simple. Labour Party and what P2B represents is empowerment of the youth. You identify them. bring them in, give them roles to play, and allow them to perform because they have got what it takes. And this young lady is one out of the many women who hold important position in Labour Party, and of course, very much more important position in the obedient movement, the movement that is geared towards the emancipation of the people of this country, no matter the divide. She has done so well, and she will be joining us soon. I understand she's having a little of a technical challenge, but very soon we'll have her. While we anticipate our oncoming, let us look at some of the things that happened this week. Again, as usual, this week has been an interesting one. And it's clear what reactions have been trailing the Chatham House interview of the presidential candidate of All Progressive is APC. I don't even want to know what to say about them. But you and I watched the interview, and of course, we saw an interview for presidential candidates that turned to an interview to presidential candidate supporters. One person was invited to Chatham House, and multiple persons started answering questions. It became a delegation ground, first in history in Chatham House. I don't know what you will make out of that. Obina, what do you think about the Chatham House outing by Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his handlers, should say, when a question was put before a presidential candidate, especially important questions, things that are germane like security, like health, and instead of answering the questions to show that he understands the Nigerians' current awful situation, to change it for good, he delegated it to his handler. Does it mean those are the people who are packaging his presidency? Are they the people who are packaging? I don't understand that, okay? And many people seem to be at loss. What do you think about that outing?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Tilo. You see, the moment you started talking about that issue, you see that I already laughing. The reason why I'm laughing is that it just less than an hour of that display, it was released on air. The play was released by one of these actors, and that was a short demonstration.
Yeah. Can you speak more louder, please?
It was demonstrating the attitude of someone going for an interview, and you are being asked a question in the process of your interview, and tell people to ask your father, or ask your mother, or ask your sister, your wife, questions that you were asked that you ought to have given another directly on. So it sounds like a child, like someone who doesn't know anything about the administration, about a particular thing, like in the case of the presidential candidate of APC. He has no knowledge of Nigeria. He doesn't his own party. So he cannot give answers to what he doesn't know. That's why I think there's getting the issues. Throwing it back to send him to contest. So people ask him to go and contest. So he's telling them that, oh yeah, the question has come. We answer the question that these people ask. Because now let me go there. You understand? So that everything was going on this. That is the way he is throwing that question left, right, at those people. And honestly, to be honest with you, that is a complete discredit of himself. It shows that he is not going to be a president to rule the people, but a president to be celebrated, and after the celebration, sits on the position based on celebration, and while and get other people who doesn't even have anything to do even more than himself to come
Yes.
there to rule. Nigerians have grown past that. But at
Yes.
the we have present, we will not tolerate such things. So this himself, honestly, that is my own. Is a complete disgrace of him.
Yes.
In fact, every gives us it gives us age in that particular environment. People are not meant to see that what these obedience are preaching is fact. Now that obedience are preaching the fact, and there is a sin, then you see what we are saying and join us. It's helping us to sell the fact that Nigerians feel wise.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
helping us to sell that Nigerians
Just to point to that. One of his spokesperson, the man from the West, he did say that the take away from that is that Bola Ahmed Tinubu believes in building a team, and what he displayed at the interview was to show that he has a competent team, and he gave them the opportunity to answer questions and to prove themselves. That was the justification, and people are saying, okay, and I also think they're right, that you are not yet the president of the country. You are just a candidate. Have you, already formed your cabinet? Have you made your ministers such that you now give them opportunity to answer questions that you ought to answer as a presidential candidate, right? Secondly, Chatham House has more or less a culture. You can call it a tradition, okay? How the interviews are conducted there and things they do. There has never been a time when a presidential candidate from any part of the world went to Chatham House and delegated his questions, to one of his handlers, supporters, or whatever. It has never happened. So why would it be from him? And that caused, a lot of reactions from the public. However, it's important to note that information is going around that His Excellency Peter Obi has just been invited to Chatham House, and he will be appearing there soon. All right. Now we have the opportunity to see the difference. Chatham House is more or less a solemn place where you get to, you respectfully sit down. There is no noise, there is no altercation, and there is no clapping, no sharing. You just have your interview, answer the questions that are thrown at you in the most civilized way that you can. All right, expected of a leader, and that is done. So P2B is moving on to have his own, and the world will watch and see. So we can once again, as always, note the difference between A and B. It is very, very clear. So these are the things that happened this week, and of course, some other things that happened this week. Principal among them is the television interview between the three spokespersons, one for Labour Party, the other for APC, and then the other for PDP. Well, of course, Kenneth Okonkwo, the veteran actor, represented the Labour Party and Peter Obi, and in the interview, he took time, more or less, to educate the other spokespersons of the other candidates, and he showed them clearly the difference, what makes a leader, both in character, capacity, and in competence. All right, showing clearly how P2B, comes top notch among the three major presidential candidates. So we have joining us, I think Lady Priya is here. Am I right? Lady Priya, can you say hi?
I'm here. Hi.
It's good to have you once more. How is
Thank
it over there in
you.
Canada? How are you guys feeling the campaign that is ongoing in Nigeria?
It's hitting up here too. We have a lot of diaspora groups mobilizing. We have multiple people who have these conversations. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's looking forward to it. Even people from other African countries, they are really waiting to see the outcome and how it will play out. And foreigners too are interested in the conversation because I think the way the politicking started with Peter Obi doing his diaspora tour really roused the interest of the international community. So
Yeah.
technically, everybody's talking about it, like it's everywhere. We're just waiting. People have their fingers crossed, looking to see, how he will emerge as Nigeria's president.
Now, capitalizing on that, would you say that the international community and, of course, Nigerians in diaspora will feel disappointed if Peter Obi does not emerge the winner in the coming presidential election in Nigeria?
People will be. People are actually hoping for him to emerge, and that's because he's not just a typical politician. He also has a reputation of being, he's a popular businessman. Not many people know that he's actually popular abroad as a businessman. He's a renowned businessman. He's on multiple professional boards or bodies, in various countries like the US and the UK. So people don't know that he actually does have a lot of international connections, hence why you see many people, even non-Nigerians, talking about the stories, because he has that reputation, and everybody's just looking out for him pretty much.
Okay, so that's to say that to whom much is given, much is expected.
Much is expected. That's
the
correct.
world has given so much to Nigeria in form of grants, in form of support, loans, debt forgiveness, and a whole lot, to support this country for decades. Okay, and invariably, these things we are more like saying, you stand up on your feet, okay? Take your place as a giant of Africa and a major contributor to the world's economy, okay? We have the human capital in abundance. We have resources of various types, God-given strength to be the number one, not just in Africa, but of course in various ways. Now, for the people of this country, I mean those who are at home, who are able to vote, what do you think that Nigerians in diaspora like your good self expect those of us at home to do to save this nation?
What we really expect is and if you carry out a poll today, Tilo, you will see that many people abroad actually want to come home. Especially people who, not those born here, many people who migrated maybe in the last 5 or 6 years. If you notice, most Nigerians are actually patriotic at heart.
Yeah.
Most times, if a Nigerian is walking away from Nigeria, it's either they have a better opportunity out there, or they are trying to play the game of survival, which is, where can I survive the best? Where can I at least live you might not be rich overnight, but where can I live, a life that I feel safe? I'm not running from anything. So what we really want is for those back home to share the same, compassion and passion for Nigeria. I noticed that many people who support the old order, either they have something to gain from the old order, or they don't understand any other thing apart from the old order, meaning they are not properly educated as to what a good functioning working government should look like. So that's where we're struggling. We get sad when we hear people make excuses for the mediocrity in Nigeria, because we live in safer communities here, and we're like, why can't our country be like this? And then someone tells you, oh, no, that's the norm, that's how it's supposed to be. No, it's not okay to accept those type of things as your normal, because you can actually live a good and fruitful life. And a good and fruitful life doesn't necessarily mean, oh, you becoming a millionaire overnight. No, it means you being stable as a person. Stability means having shelter, having access to opportunities, meaning you can work. No matter what the job is, you can keep your hands busy, so your mind doesn't have to be idle. You know, you can get up, you can feel safe, you can lock your door and step out knowing that nobody's going to break in. And if anybody breaks in, the culprit will be apprehended. You know, it's very hard to live here and feel like your life is at stake for on any given day. And even people that are on maybe international watch lists or, you know, terrorist affiliates can't even enter countries like this. They flag them. We work closely with Interpol, so you feel kind of safe that even before something as extreme as maybe terrorism, you know, religious extremism, terrorism can grow here, they would curb it. So you have faith in the system that even if they ask you to pay, even if it's 50% of your income for taxes, you will do it gladly because you are reaping the dividends. Yeah, you know, so that's where we are. And that's why Peter Obi keeps saying, empower the people, empower them, pull them out of poverty, let them be working and let them have room for innovation, let them build businesses. That is when you can expect them to pay you large taxes. You cannot tax somebody that doesn't have income. You're wasting your time. You know.
Exactly.
The person will do anything to evade your tax because they can barely survive. So you empower people, you give them stability. That's why, no matter how we complain about taxes in Canada, we're like, okay, yeah, we're paying taxes, but guess what? If I have a problem, I go straight to the emergency. I'm not paying. It's not a matter of, hey, I don't have money for deposit in the hospital. It is pick up your health card and hit the streets, go straight to the hospital. Oh, you can't move, call 911 and an ambulance is at your door in the next how many minutes, you know, because every single life matters, right? So I think we should stop normalizing mediocrity and actually expect the, you know what it is to vie for public office. Let's hold our politicians to higher standards and stop saying, oh, that's how it's done in Nigeria, or no, we'll take it like that. Nigerian politics is a different game. It's a game. No, politics shouldn't be a game that has to do with the lives of over 200 million people. Stop calling it a game. This is actually a very serious, very, very serious thing, you know.
Yes,
so yeah, that's where we are now.
Yeah, thank you, Lady Priya. Nigerians, Lady Priya is the leader of Team Obidati Life, and this team has done so much and is still doing so much in representing the obedience on Daddy Free's life every Tuesday night, right? And it's at 12 p.m. Nigerian time. Of course, that's the time that Lady Priya and others are so busy over there, you know, in abroad. Lady Priya is in Canada, and she's a renowned health professional. Of course, she is one of the many Nigerians who have acquired knowledge to that extent, so, and of course with passion that they would want to come back to this country and change our health
and
sector.
make a difference.
I look forward to that time under Peter Obi.
I do too.
When our people will come home and say, come on guys, let's put hands together and we have to change the country for the good of all. And to make it possible, it's in your hands as well as in mine. All we have to do is to pick our PVC on 25th of February, get to your various polling units, and ensure you vote Peter Obi, and you vote him by voting Labour Party correctly. Do not fall victim of casting an invalid vote. Make sure you vote within the box provided. And the logo is Papa, Mama, and Pikin. You don't miss that.
And the acronym for the party is LP. So you may not see Labour Party spelled out fully. You will see LP. So where you see LP and the logo is Mama, Papa, and Pikin, that's where you cast your ballot. That's where you put your thumbprint.
Isn't this amazing? Somebody in Canada, and of course many of them in UK, Switzerland, America, London, even in Dubai, the Asia countries, they know so much about this electioneering and electoral process and the materials and what to do. How much more you and I in this country? We must wake up from our slumber and do what we should do to make this country. So I was telling you that every Tuesday night we on Daddy Freeze Live, and we are more or less educating our oppositions on why they should shift ground, having occupied the seat for long and doing nothing. You allow the young ones to do something better. Allow the people of this country to come up and do things the way it should be done. Just give us a space. And of course, we are taking it. Now, this week, a video came out showing the APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu having a session. Yes, please.
Check the messages.
Okay, thank you very much. So he was having a section, and he told Nigerians, and he said, okay, I think I'm up. Am I okay now, Obina? Can you hear me very well?
Yes, I can hear you. I don't know about him, but I can hear you clearly too.
Can you
okay, very well.
The problem is not your voice clarity, it's your picture. Your picture, you are paused. Your video is paused. I don't know. At least you can see me moving.
Yeah, I can see you. I can see Priya. I can see you, and I can see reflection.
Okay, yeah, your video is up now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So now, I was saying that a video came out of showing the presidential candidate of APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, having a session with some people, including the governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi, and then he was telling them that power is not served in a restaurant, neither is it served as a la carte. And he was telling people, you have to fight for it, you have to grab it, you have to snatch it. He actually used the word snatch, and you run with it. Please, what do we know in this country as something that is snatched during elections? Is it not the ballot box?
Ballot box and result sheets.
Oh, result sheets. So is it that this person, who is supposed to be an icon of good behavior, a preacher and promoter of civility, is now telling his followers to go snatch power? How do you snatch power? Is it not better you do the normal electioneering, do your campaign, convince people to vote for you, and you win votes legitimately rather than snatch it? Nigeria should be careful. You know, we should be able to read between lines. What they say, what they tell us, and what happens. We should be able to add this and know where it's coming from. Not long ago, the same man was talking to his followers, and he told them, look, if they say they want change in government, tell them we don't want to be rude, but please shut up. So Nigerians should shut up. They have no right to ask for a change in government. Now they're asking for a change in government of APC to something good. They should shut up and not complain. We should die. It's like beating a child and asking the child not to cry. I don't know if there is a greater sin than that before God. So we have to be wise. We have to know what means. So we take the right action. I don't know what you make out of these two videos. What it means to say, shut up, don't complain, and what it means to say, go for power, grab it, snatch it, and run with it. I don't know what concept that is. What do you think?
Okay, so here's what I'm going to tell my fellow Nigerian brothers and sisters, right? It still boils down to what has been happening. We've normalized their bad behavior so much that you even have the audacity to even make those statements in the first place. One of the major characteristics of people who vie for public office should be humility. If you are not humble, you cannot serve. Public office is for service. If you can't humble yourself, how do you want to serve people? Especially people that you might feel like maybe they are considerably maybe less than you in having wealth or something. So the Evidence is already there already. Somebody who doesn't love you enough to be humble enough to even explain themselves, no compassion whatsoever. Will you not expect the person to change your life? It's not possible. It's the same thing we're talking about. We talk about, especially, in the Western world, trying to make sure that people don't get accustomed to being attached to their abusers. The Stockholm syndrome, where you see women, for instance, going back to their abusive husbands, or vice versa. An abusive wife, the husband keeps going back and trying to make excuses, all these numerous excuses, until the person maybe kills the person. Then everybody is like, oh, really? So this guy was that abusive, or this lady was that abusive. It's not like we're waiting for, you wait for people to actually die. And like I say, people who Nigeria has happened to in different ways know that this is not right. So that's very passionate. In many cases, very, very, very angry, because sometimes you hear someone say, I lost my daughter, or I lost my husband, or I lost my son, just for simple, no first aid at the hospital, no oxygen. Basic, these are statutory standards that the hospital should have, that if they don't even meet up to, they should be closed down, that kind of thing. But we don't hold ourselves to higher standards. We don't want to hold our politicians to higher standards. So we still have people really making excuses for this level of impunity and mediocrity. They are making excuses every second. And you're like, but this thing this person is doing can literally cost you your life. It can cost you your life in many ways. You should understand that if it costs you your life, it can cost any other person in your family their life. So everybody in your family is at risk, not just you. So if you feel like, oh, okay, it's not a big deal what they are doing, this is how we do it in Nigeria, then we'll remain on the same level and we'll never progress. One of the best ways to grow is to begin to hold yourself to a higher standard, even you as an individual. Then we ourselves as a community, then all of us as a nation, hold yourselves to higher standards. And that goes with every single area, apart from, government, even in the private sector. As we conduct businesses, as we come together, maybe start businesses, don't cheat your partner. As you want to maybe do something, don't doctor the number. Stop. Let's just stop this overall mentality that we can use shortcuts to wade through life. It won't work. And that's why we are where we are today.
Yes. Thank you very much. That's correct. We have had it, and we'll continue to say this to everybody we get. Just this week, there is a video that came out from the Obedience, okay? And of course, as usual, it's selfless. It wasn't sponsored by Peter Obi or Labour Party. And this is really a technical one, a digitalized video that shows, oh, come on, Nigeria is going to be different. Okay, can we have that video for the viewing pleasure?
Record. Are you obedient? I am obedient. Are you obedient? We are obedient. Now my president, you think me, I want better tomorrow. Me no want to lose.
segregate Nigeria from consumption to production.
Ana son ci gaban Najeriya a zaba Peter Obi.
Fún ìlọsíwájú orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà, dìbò fún Pétérù Obi.
Maka ọdịmma Nigeria, ka anyị tụnyere nụ Peter Obi.
Vote Peter Obi.
Vote Peter Obi.
Vote Peter Obi.
Okay, you've had
That
it.
was great.
It's
Yeah.
all very great. I can tell you again and again. And this video will be coming out periodically in our subsequent shows. And this came from one man who is unapologetically obedient and a concerned Nigeria, Honorable Obinna. Let me also say this. There are so many young Nigerians who have talents like this and want to use that to support the transformation that is ongoing in this country through the obedience and Peter Obi. If you have any of these videos, clips, jingles that you have developed, feel free to send it to us via any of our social media handles. It's there on the screen. You can take it and send us your video, and be sure that we'll air it on this program periodically for people to see. And of course, the credit will go to you. Don't fail to do that. So it's an opportunity for all of us to contribute and do something for this great country, Nigeria. You have the avenue now to bring forward what you have. Remember again that we'll be glad to have you in this show, right? You come live and speak to Nigerians, you know, regarding the coming election and how obedient you are and what you would want to do for the obedience and through the obedience and with the obedience too. So hit us, all right, on any of our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course the YouTube. Go to the link, is already displayed here. Write us and be sure that we'll respond promptly and positively to your requests. All right, we'll do a little bit of KYC on you and be sure that we are not talking to a robot. That's all that it will take. All right.
Yeah.
So back to the conversation. But before then, let me inform us that I just took a time to communicate via chat with our guest for today. And she's very remorseful that the network in her location has been very faulty. It hasn't allowed her to come up. She is the Labour Party local government chairman for Urumba South. Urumba South is in Anambra State. And she's Miss Chizoba. Of course, I said earlier, you'll be wondering how a Miss is the Labour Party chairman. That's the kind of thing that Labour Party is bringing on board, where the young ones with wisdom, with know-how, are coming on board to take the new face of leadership in this country. It's not talk. It's action. They are being identified young. They are being given the opportunity to play their role. We're not talking about women quota or no women quota. She is a lady and she is young, she is agile, she's learned, she's intelligent, and she's somebody who has been, adjudged by, to have a proven character, integrity, and she's competent and she has a capacity to lead. I would not say the things that she would say, okay? I'm sure she will have the opportunity to tell us what herself and her team have been able to do in Urumba South for obedience and Labour Party in general. Okay, so let's see if she still comes up. Right. Now, back to the discussion. We are talking about Nigerians and we are talking about the outing. Again, the videos that came up where Bola Ahmed Tinubu said a number of things that we need to look at as a people of this nation. And let's go over to the outing at Chatham House in the UK, where the APC had an outing and has stirred so many reactions from Nigerians. Just a few people say, oh, it's okay. Of course, those are people in his camp. And majority of Nigerians said, "Oh, come on, this is a disappointment and a disgrace of a nation," right? Coming from APC government. Let me pray. You stay in Canada, and of course, I'm sure you've been to London, and you've seen a lot of international Democrats and diplomats go on interview that are aired live, whatever. What do you think about the APC presidential candidate outing, where questions that were thrown at him, we are directed by him to his followers to answer, especially on issues of security, health, and more of them? What do you make out of that? A lot of Nigerians say, "Oh, come on, this is unbecoming." You think it's okay, as they say in their camp?
It's embarrassing. But of course, it's okay to them in their camp, because it's what I just finished addressing. Accepting mediocrity as the norm and telling yourself what you cannot do for a job interview, don't allow any presidential candidate to do to you. If you go to a job interview, you're trying to get a job. Oh, you're trying to sign up as a contractor for a company. You go there and you tell them, "I'm not going to answer the question. I'm going to ask, because in the spirit of teamship, let me call my manager in the office to answer this question." They're going to be like, "So you mean you don't have that much of a hold on your business and you want this contract from us?" It's almost immediate. If you're in a job interview, you can't respond to questions. Will you say, "Let me quickly call, my former colleague, in the spirit of teamship"? No. We're talking about you vying to be the principal decision maker in Nigeria, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces means you command the armed forces, about 3 arms of armed forces. We're talking about all the other civil security organizations. We're talking about the legislature and the judiciary looking up to you. And then you are telling me in the spirit of teamship, you're going to respond to questions bordering around security and bordering around the economy. You're going to assign those. You even assign the security question to a governor who has not figured out the security of his state. What are we talking about now? We don't need these things to be spelled out to us black and blue. Many Nigerians, most Nigerians are very intelligent and very capable. Even the ones that don't have formal education are very intelligent enough to decipher when something is right or wrong. So it was an embarrassment, a colossal embarrassment. Nobody has ever done that. Nobody from Nigeria has ever done that. So this is what we're saying about even having somebody that would professional image, not bring it further down. It's already low as it is, and then that kind of person. I hope that we get to a point where it's just unfortunate that he's on the ballot, but I hope we get to a point where we will never, it's good to have 2, 3, 4 intellectuals vying for that office, and there will be hope. When you present this kind of person and you now claim the person went to Chicago State University, I didn't even do my higher education in Canada, and I don't sound like that. I'm doing all my postgraduate studies abroad, but I schooled in Nigeria from primary up until the end of my university, and I still don't sound like that. So somebody who was opportune to do his higher education in a state like Chicago in the US shouldn't be sounding like that. That I know people that did not even go to higher institutions of learning that sound better than that. This is where his education even comes into question. So you cannot be my commander-in-chief of armed forces. You cannot be in charge of the economy that I'm going to be surviving under, all my loved ones. And I would be expecting you to sound like that. I don't feel safe. On behalf of all my loved ones and even every Nigerian, you shouldn't feel safe with that kind of person. And that is why his only antics will always remain how to do it through the back door. He doesn't have any record of doing things the proper straight way. The increase in IGR in Lagos is always after being investigated, we've seen that it's just by simply taxing people, releasing tax on the entire populace to keep taxing everybody and collecting money. That's his own idea of increasing internally generated revenue, stripping the poor of their little pay, and he is saying you are widening the tax net. He doesn't have any record of actually accomplishing anything the proper way. So what do we now really think will become of Nigeria in the hands of somebody like that? On the other hand, there's a very, very clear, precise video outlining who Peter Obi is. The documentary on Peter Obi that was shared earlier on this week. From the beginning, we know where the man came from, up to the house. You know when they say person reach house? We know Peter Obi reach house. We know where he was born. We know who he was born to. We know his siblings' names. We know his wife's name, his children's names. We know what schools he went to. We know what executive programs he completed. We know what projects everything is out in the open. So come on, it's not rocket science. It's not. I wish more of our people could see it for what it is, instead of trying to make excuses for this type of bullocks. It's pointless. Thank you.
Thank you, Lady Priya. You always dissect it for even the most confused person to understand, right? That's more of educating the people. We should have good basis of judging those who are aspiring to be our leader.
In office,
you wouldn't know where he's gonna lead you to. Just like we have this mess that we are in now, and we are praying that we get out of it, it will be an abomination. Okay, so to say that we are jumping from frying pan to fire. That would be stupid of us as a people, and we really need to gather against that. Now, moving forward, there is news making round that Chatham House has invited His Excellency Peter Obi to an interview. The date, we are yet to confirm the date, but there is excitement in amongst people in different locations, and clearly, it's one interview that is really being anticipated by various quarters. So many are saying that now we are going to have a real presentation from a serious presidential candidate. It's more like going to right the wrong of APC that brought a disappointment to the minds of Nigerians. They are looking forward for a presentation that will right that wrong, and maybe in about a week or two, that interview will be up. Now, the final one before we come to the end of the show. Dominican University in Ibadan just announced His Excellency Peter Obi as the pro-chancellor of the university. And the confirmation was made during their convocation that held, where Peter Obi said to the students and the staff of the university, I would not be talking about myself, otherwise I will be telling you to vote for me. But let it be noted that the coming election is very important to the people of this nation, and it must be based on competence, capacity, and character. We must vote for someone who will change the narrative positively in this country. And for the first time, we are thinking that Dominican University wants to tap from the anointing of this great man, Peter Obi. And so, we went for him. I think there is this good tidings that follows him where he goes, that those who stand against his anointing get swept off, by one thing or the other, act of God, so to say. And those who bless him are blessed. Just like God said to Abraham, I'll make you the father of all nations. And I bless you, that those who bless you will be blessed, and those who curse you will be cursed. Perhaps we are seeing, in practical terms, the head of Abraham in Peter Obi, and Dominican University on that. We congratulate him, and we thank him for showing that humility, that is required of a leader. What do you think about this appointment and investiture as Pro-Chancellor of Dominican University in Ibadan, all the center of Yoruba land, the western part of this country? What do you think about that?
The thing is, excellence doesn't hide itself. Excellence doesn't hide itself, and every reputable institution, educational institution, should strive to be affiliated one way or the other with excellence. That is what raises their rating and their, people recognizing them as an institution globally. So yes, it's a very good move. Every school, coming from a school like Covenant University, I can relate to having chancellors and pro-chancellors and directors on the board being people of excellence, where they can make high quality decisions, number one, and number two, they can drive the school in a very, very futuristic direction, as opposed to just putting anybody just because maybe they're your friend or you have some affiliation to them. No, people with proven records of excellence, So yes, it's a very good move. Any institution that does that means well for those who are in attendance, and in the future, it helps to also prop up the confidence of the students. Yeah, so yes, I commend them and I applaud them, and I feel like institutions around the country should start emulating things like that. They should stop just appointing any politician or anything just for clout. They should choose people with proven excellence, people who are, who have excelled in certain fields. Whatever courses they might be offering as an institution, they still need to present whoever it is or whoever the ambassadors might be out there as people of excellence, so that they too can drive up the quality of education for their own students. So yes, I commend them and I applaud them for that, and that's a very good move. And regarding Chatham House, I know that most Obedients are not worried. Peter Obi, this is what he has been doing since the beginning of the campaign, answering questions, going to places where the difficult conversations are being heard and had, answering whatever questions that may be thrown at him. So no, this is not, we're not worried, we're not nervous, because this has been the nature of the campaign from the moment it commenced. And we're proud that he's able to present himself that way, and we're rooting for him as usual. I know the world cannot wait to hear his own policy recommendations, and that would be just, the most amazing part of it.
Yes, thank you very much, Lady Priya. It's amazing, how things are beginning to change in this country, and we are seeing real positive change taking place. The obedient wave is sweeping away the rocks and bringing about a display of competence, character, and even justice. Okay, now talking about Dominican University in Ibadan, far away Yoruba land, the west part of this country, we see an enthronement of not just competence, but character. I took a look at my BSc certificate in those days, and it reads, having been found competent in character first and learning, showing that character is even placed ahead of learning. For one who learns without character becomes a monster. The school would have produced a monster for the society. So they emphasize character first, and that is it. Dominican University went for character as a model for their students, and we are believing that these students will see the character, of their new Pro-Chancellor, His Excellency Peter Obi, and also strive to conduct themselves in emulation of this good character that is selfless, character that is human, character that is humble, incorruptible, that is all embedded and talking about the transformation of this great country back to its lost glory and even better. So we thank you. Tonight, speaking with me has been Lady Priye, a concerned Nigeria who is living in the diaspora far away, Canada, and she took time to explain important points to the people of this country, and she always does that. Lady Priye is the leader of Team Obi That Alive, and that's our own group, and she has done so well. You can follow her up even in her personal handle, Diary of a Canadian Mom. I hope I got that right.
Yes, you did.
Thank you. So she says a whole lot of things that, are all geared towards building a better Nigeria. This is one lady, all right, that you must not miss following her with the hand. Also with us is Obinna, all the way from Edo. Obinna is our technical man, and this is an expert. I give it to him. Obinna, you are a great guy, all right. That video you played, we will be rounding up with it. We'll have 2 minutes to go, and we'll give this time to that video. Remember, Nigerians, like we say, if you have any innovation, any video, any production, whatever it is, for the Obedient family, please send it to us via our social media handles, and we'll be sure we'll play it and give the credit to you. All right? So the video comes up again, and with that, we'll say good night to you. Enjoy your weekend. And make sure you worship God tomorrow in spirit and in truth. Do not forget, 25th of February 2023 is the election day. You must vote for Peter Obi. You must vote for Labour Party, and the acronym will be LP. That's what you see on the ballot box. And of course, the logo is Papa, Mama, and him. Vote wisely. Vote correct. Good night. Good night.
Record. Are you obedient? I am obedient. Are you obedient? We are obedient. Now my president, you think me, I want better tomorrow. Me no want to load, no. Now the person with me, if he want better tomorrow, no go vote to load, no. On your mark, let's go. As you sing me so, at the front line, but you want my no, make we unite, so do the right thing. Situation that they get a CD, my brother, sister, get your BBC. Make we unite, make we vote to you. Now my president, me, I want better tomorrow. Me no want to load, no. Now the person will be, want better tomorrow. No go vote to load, no. You don't want to be, it means say you don't want to be.
Me I go vote to Obi, Peter Obi. Say now you we want to.
We want to.
Now you we want to.
What I want to do is to take Nigeria from consumption to production.
Ana son ci gaban Najeriya a zaba Peter Obi.
fún ìlọsíwájú orílẹ̀-èdè nàìjíríà dìbò fún pétérù òbí.
maka ọdịmma Naijiria ka anyị tụnyere Peter Obi.
Peter Obi.